Hey guys, so I wanted to make this Palpatine theory video. So what if this entire time with the new movies, we have been tricked into thinking Snoke was the big bad guy, but in reality, the bad guy, the main villain, still could be Palpatine. My brother came up with this theory. We're gonna talk about it in another video in more detail, but I just wanted to talk about it for a little bit in this one because I love it so much. I love this theory so much that he came up with. So remember in Force Awakens when Kylo was talking to Darth Vader's helmet and he said, "Show me again the power of the darkness." Well, we all know he's not talking to Vader because Vader redeemed himself. And a lot of people thought it was Snoke talking to him. But my brother pointed this out to me. And he said that when you rewatch it again, it sounds like he's talking about Snoke to the mask, right? And Drew was saying, my brother Drew, that's his name, he was saying, what if it's actually Palpatine talking to him? And Kylo thinks it is Darth Vader, that it's Anakin. And like I mentioned, my brother and I, we're going to do a video together and we're really going to explain this. And he does such a good job explaining it. And I feel like it makes a lot of sense. So when my brother told me about this, I was like, oh my gosh. And when I thought about it, Snoke is really like a pawn, and that's what my brother was saying. He thinks that Snoke is a tool, that Snoke is not the big bad guy. And if you read the concept art book for The Last Jedi, it refers to Snoke as the man behind the curtain. Man behind the curtain quote, that is a direct reference to the Wizard of Oz. And in the Wizard of Oz, everybody thought the wizard was some magical, great, powerful wizard. And he wasn't. It was all show. It was all fake. And the scene in The Last Jedi when Rey is presented in front of Snoke, it is very similar with the whole thing with the Wizard of Oz when they go meet the wizard. And, you know, Snoke does put on this whole show. In the originals, the original movies of Palpatine doesn't put on a big show because he is powerful. He doesn't have to put on a show or, you know, be like, oh, I'm so powerful. He already is. He doesn't have to put on a big display. Palpatine didn't wear any fancy robes. He had a simple black cloak. He just had a simple chair. The whole room was just all black. And Snoke, it was like this elaborate thing. And if you look back at the prequels, there was a bunch of Sith, right? There was a lot of Sith goons. And a lot of times in the prequels, well, pretty much the whole plot is the main characters, the heroes, they're chasing the wrong Sith. They think Dooku is the great Sith Lord. They spend their time trying to get the wrong guy. They think someone else is the one who's behind the master plan. And it was Palpatine the whole time. And I also feel like there are similarities between Snoke and Dooku. I haven't read the Last Jedi novelization. The first time I went to Barnes & Noble, they didn't have it. And so I went to a different Barnes & Noble, didn't have it. But what I have heard from the internet buzz about it is that Snoke was an ally of Luke. And in the prequels, Dooku was once an ally. He was once a Jedi. And I never thought of it before. I didn't think of this at first. But I also feel like the scene where Anakin kills Dooku is similar to the scene where Kylo kills Snoke. I also think it'd be so poetic if Kylo was being manipulated by Palpatine, like how Anakin was, like how his grandfather was. And that scene where he's talking to the mask and he thinks he's talking to Anakin, he's actually talking to Palpatine. I thought about it and I was like, what if Palpatine is using Snoke for his own gain, just like how he used the Sith in the prequels? And another reason why I think Palpatine is going to have a presence in Episode 9 is there are a lot of new storylines of him that still have been going on, and they're mysterious. They're new storylines too. They're not old storylines. And McDermott returned to voice Palpatine for the finale of Rebels. And they didn't even have to bring Palpatine. Thrawn was a good villain enough that it didn't have to have Palpatine, but they brought Palpatine back. And I don't think they brought Palpatine back just because he is a huge iconic villain. It seemed to me that there was more of a reason than that, because there is a new storyline introduced with Palpatine in the finale and the end of the show too. Palpatine wants this gateway. He wants this portal thing. Dave Filoni said in a recent interview that Palpatine basically wants to be eternal. He wants ultimate power. And that's also hinted in other Star Wars mediums as well. Dave Filoni had said that the characters they bring onto the show have to do with the overall story, that they don't bring characters just for fan service. It makes me think his story isn't quite done yet, and this plot with Ezra and Palpatine, it's fairly recent. It was in the Star Wars Rebels finale. It's a new storyline. They brought Palpatine back in 2018, and I feel like there's a lot of significance too, because this plot with Ezra and Palpatine, they aired the finale after The Last Jedi came out. So I feel like there was a reason why they wanted to wait, that they were afraid that somebody would figure out something by watching the finale of Rebels. In the Star Wars Battlefront 2 story campaign, which is amazing, it's like a Star Wars movie, I loved it. There's a scene where the main character, Iden, talks to her father, and Iden's an Imperial, and they talk about Palpatine, and her father suggests that Palpatine had a plan, that he had a backup plan in case the Empire fell. And we really don't learn all the details of Palpatine's backup plan. It's left in a lot of mystery. Also, in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 multiplayer and the gameplay, Palpatine's dialogue is very interesting. Palpatine says in the video game, "I am eternal." That's one of his lines. And when I heard that, I was like, well, what does that mean? There's a Star Wars expanded universe storyline where Emperor Palpatine is interested in Jakku. So my point is, they keep introducing these new storylines of Palpatine. They're not old storylines. It's not just like, oh, Palpatine, you know, he's just iconic villain. They're new, and so it makes me think that he's gonna have a presence in Episode 9. It just makes me think that if Palpatine had a backup plan, if he had a plan if the Empire fell, it makes me think that maybe somehow Snoke was involved in that plan, because Palpatine is a master planner. He's a master manipulator. He uses everyone. He used all the characters in the prequels and the movies. The heroes, the bad guys, he used everybody. I had heard that originally there was going to be a Sith ghost in The Last Jedi, and it makes me wonder if it was Palpatine. Also, in the Force Awakens novelization, when Rey is standing over Kylo after their battle, there's a voice inside her head that says, "Kill him." And Rey thinks to herself how easy and how quick it would be to kill Kylo. A lot of people thought the voice inside Rey's head was Snoke, and I thought at first that it was the dark side. I thought it was just, you know, the dark side talking to her, because the dark side talks to people and all that. And my brother said that he thought it was Palpatine, that it was Palpatine's voice telling Rey to kill Kylo. It describes the voice as being unidentifiable and being raw, powerful, and vengeful. I just love the idea that it was Palpatine talking to Rey, telling her to kill Kylo. Because you look back in the prequels, Palpatine says to Anakin, kill him now. And the dialogue with Rey, her inner dialogue in her head, when she's thinking about killing Kylo, it says, kill him. And I feel like it would be so perfect if it was Palpatine telling Rey to kill Kylo, because it would be revenge, because Anakin killed Palpatine, so he would want Rey to kill Anakin's grandson. It says that the voice in Rey's head is vengeful. Well, why would Snoke be vengeful against Kylo? I don't think there's a reason why he would want revenge against Kylo, and it wasn't like he wanted Rey to be his apprentice. He didn't want Rey to replace Kylo. He wanted Kylo to kill her. And it doesn't make sense that Snoke just wants another apprentice because he's got the Knights of Ren. And in the Last Jedi concept art book, and people told me about this, that Snoke had or has another apprentice, that he was training another apprentice at the same time as Kylo. So people think that there is a secret apprentice of Snoke out there. Snoke doesn't try to make Rey go to the dark side. He doesn't ask her to join him. It's not like Palpatine was with Luke. When Palpatine wanted Luke to join him, he wanted Luke to replace Vader. And Palpatine only started to kill Luke because Luke completely refused. I just think it would be so perfect if Palpatine was using Kylo just like how he used Anakin. And he was tricking Kylo into thinking that Kylo was talking to his grandfather, but he actually was talking to Palpatine. And if Rey has some kind of relation to Palpatine, if she's a descendant of Palpatine, and if you watch one of my videos, you know how I think it'd be cool if Rey was both, if Rey was a Kenobi and she was a descendant of Palpatine. Well, it would be so interesting, that whole fight scene too, because if Rey heard Palpatine in her head, Palpatine would want his descendant, his relative, to kill Anakin's grandson. So it would be a Palpatine killing a Skywalker. I think it would be such a great twist to bring Palpatine back and for him to still be the villain. And a lot of people have wondered, well, who's going to be the villain? Who's going to be the villain for episode 9? And I think there'll be multiple bad guys, but I think it would just be so great. It would be so awesome. As a fan, I would love to see Palpatine as a villain and that he is orchestrating things again, just like he was before. Because I think Snoke was just a puppet. I think he's just a tool. I think a lot of the things in The Last Jedi was a trick. Like, I feel like I want there to be that there's something really cool that's going to happen in episode 9 and something really interesting, an interesting detail that none of us are seeing, and then when we see it in episode 9, we're going to be like, oh my gosh, it was there. And someone posted a link for the Last Jedi novelization of the different music tracks that were used in the audiobook of The Last Jedi for the different scenes. And on this list, it said that, and I haven't listened to the audiobook, but on this list, it said that Palpatine's theme is used during Rey and Kylo's Force Bond sessions. I think the theme was Palpatine's theme in Revenge of the Sith when he reveals himself to Anakin. When I read that it was the same theme, that Palpatine's theme from Revenge of the Sith was used during the scenes of Kylo and Rey, the Force Bond session scenes in the novelization of The Last Jedi, I got so giddy. I was so excited when I read that, and I was like, okay, this has to mean something. This has to mean something. Because I feel like with music in Star Wars, it's so important. And I was like, why is Palpatine's theme, why is his theme from Revenge of the Sith being played during the Force Bond sessions of Kylo and Rey in the Last Jedi novelization audiobook? Speaking of the audiobook, several people told me this, and someone posted the link to the music themes, the list of the music themes that were used in the audiobook for The Last Jedi, that the theme Across the Stars is played for a scene with Kylo and Rey in The Last Jedi audiobook. I was so happy to hear that, and I'm not surprised because we all know that their love story is very much like Anakin and Padme, but it makes my heart so happy. So I just wonder, is Palpatine's theme being played during their Force Bond sessions because Rey is a descendant of Palpatine and it's a Palpatine and a Skywalker interacting? Also, another thing that my brother thought of, and I absolutely love this idea and I can't wait to talk about all this with him in one of my future videos, but he said the scene, that he thinks the scene with Kylo and Rey and the thing with Snoke is making us think that it's supposed to be like the scene with Luke and the Emperor and Vader, but that it's actually like the scene where Anakin fights Mace Windu and kills Mace Windu for Palpatine. Anakin kills a Jedi Master that he had known for a very long time, killed a fellow Jedi Master for Palpatine. And my brother compared the two scenes, and like I said, I can't wait to get him in a video and we could talk about it, because he has so many great points, even more points than I'm mentioning in this video. So my brother thinks that it's just the scenes flipped, that a dark side user is killing another dark side user for a light side user, unlike in the Revenge of the Sith movie, where Anakin kills a light side user for a dark side user. So I hope my brother is right, because I absolutely love this idea and I really want to see something interesting and cool that connects everything together in episode 9. I also don't think that people would be expecting it. I don't think the audience would be expecting that Palpatine is going to have a role, or still a role to play in episode 9. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, please like it, and please subscribe. And please hit the notification bell to get notifications. And be on the lookout for a future Palpatine theory video that I'm going to talk about with my brother. I cannot wait to share that with you guys. If you guys have any theories you want to share, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you guys. And before I close, I'm going to get sentimental for a second, and I want you guys to tell me, I want to know, what is a favorite Star Wars movie experience that you have? Star Wars is one of those very few franchises where all kinds of people can love it in all kinds of ages. My favorite movie experiences that I have with Star Wars is for The Last Jedi. I went to Disney World and I went to Disney Hollywood Studios before the movie came out. I got to see the Star Wars stage show that I hadn't gotten to see before I went down there to see The Last Jedi. And then I went on the Star Tours ride and I got to experience the Battle of Crate. So I got to see Crate before I saw The Last Jedi, which was really fun. And if you haven't been on the Star Tours ride, the ride is different every time. You go to different planets and there's different scenarios every time. So I wasn't expecting to experience Crate, and usually I get Darth Vader when I go on Star Tours, but I got Kylo Ren stopped us on the ride, and during the ride they say we have a spy on board, and then it randomly selects someone that's sitting in the ride, and I got picked to be the spy, so that was pretty fun. I was a rebel spy, and at the end of the ride they show you Galaxy's Edge, and so I was geeking out, totally having a fangirl moment at the end of the ride when I was like, Galaxy's Edge, because I hadn't seen that before. And then I saw the movie at Disney Springs, which the atmosphere for that was so much fun. Everybody was so excited. I loved hearing everyone's reactions in the movie theater. Everyone cheered, and I cheered too, when Kylo killed Snoke. That was great. And there was a little girl that was dressed up as Rey. It was so precious. So going to see The Last Jedi at Disney Springs and going to Disney Hollywood Studios and doing all the Star Wars stuff before the movie premiere, before the movie release, was so much fun. I hope that I get to see episode 9 at Disney Springs. And another favorite Star Wars movie memory of mine was when I went to see The Phantom Menace. I'm a 90s baby, so going to see The Phantom Menace, that was my first Star Wars movie to see in theaters. I remember watching it as a little girl and how much I wanted Padme's clothes, how I wanted all of her dresses. If you have a Star Wars movie experience you want to share, I would love to hear from you. I'll see you guys next time, and remember, may the Force be with you.